This map vividly shows information about the population density in June 2010 in Australia. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, that is over 100 people per square meters, 10 to 100, 1 to 10, 0.1 to 1, and less than 1. According to the graph, in the middle area of the picture, the majority is covered by the color indicating less than 0.1 person per square meter. Last but not least, in Tasmania, it is mainly covered by the color indicating there is 0.1 to 1 people per square kilometer. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph and it helps us to understand the population density in June in 2010 in Australia. This map shows information about the distribution of closed forest and extreme desert all over the world. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map that are last glacial maximum 80,000 years ago, early Holocene 8,000 years ago, and present potential vegetation. According to the graph, there are two colors, green indicating the closed forest while yellow indicating extreme desert. In early Holocene, only some areas in Asia are covered by the yellow color. Last but not least, in last glacial maximum, the majority of Australia is covered by extreme desert. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph and it helps us understand the distribution of closed forest and extreme desert all over the world. This map shows information about the 2013 GDP growth forecast in Money Game in chart of the day in terms of percent. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including less than 0, between 0 to 1, between 1 to 2, between 2 to 4, and also between 4 to 6, greater than or equal to 6, and insufficient data. According to the graph in Australia, it is covered by the color indicating GDP growth is between 22% and 4%. Last but not the least, in Russia, it is covered by the yellow indicating GDP growth is between 1% to 2%. And in conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph and it helps us to get some information about the 2013 GDP growth forecast in Money Game in chart of the day. This map gives information about the literacy rate all over the world. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including about 97%, 90 to 97%, 80 to 90%, 70 to 80%, and 50 to 70%, and also 35 to 5%, and also under 35%. According to the graph, in Australia, it is covered by the blue color indicating the literacy rate is above 97%. Last but not least, in China, it is covered by green color indicating literacy rate is between 90 to 97%. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph, and it helps us to get some information about the literacy rate all over the world. This map gives information about the population density in terms of person per square kilometers all over the world. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including under 2 people square kilometer, 2 to 10, 11 to 40, 41 to 100, 101 to 500, and above 500. According to the graph, in Australia, it is covered by grey color, indicating there are less than 2 people per square kilometer. Last but not the least, in Africa, there are orange and red color, which indicating 11 to 40 and 41 to 100 respectively. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph, and it helps us to understand population density all over the world. This map gives us information about the occurrence of flood all over the world in terms of number of events. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania. According to the graph, in America, the color is purple. The largest number can be found in 2000, while the smallest number can be found in 1950. Last but not least, in Asia, the color is green, while in Africa, the color is blue. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph, and it helps us understand information of floods all over the world. This map gives us information about the map of Azerbaijan. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including Georgia, Russia, Armenia, Baku, and Iran, and so on. According to the graph, the orange color is represented by Azerbaijan. The rest countries such as Iran, Armenia are covered by the yellow color. On the right-hand side of the map, we can see that it is covered by the blue color, which is Caspian Sea, and Azerbaijan is mainly located in the middle of the Europe and Asia. And in conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph. It helps us to get some information about the map of Azerbaijan. This map shows information about the world forest distribution. According to the map, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including evergreen and deciduous. According to the graph, in South America, about 50% is covered by the dark color, indicating evergreen forest. Last but not least, in Asia, at the top of the area is covered by the gray color, indicating deciduous trees. In conclusion, I think this is a very useful graph and it helps us to understand the distribution of the world forest. This map shows information about the annual sunshine hours for France. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this map, including less than 1,750 hours, 1,500 to 2,000 hours, 2,000 to 250 hours, and also around 2,500 hours. And at last, also including the numbers which is more than 2,750 hours. According to the graph, on top of the map, the color is light yellow, indicating less than 1,750 hours. In the middle of the map, the color is yellow, indicating 1,750 to 2,000 hours. And last but not least, at bottom, the color is red, including the island, indicating more than 2,750 hours. This map gives information about the linguistic map of Switzerland. To begin with, we can see that there are several languages in this map, including French, German, Italian, Romansh in Switzerland. According to the graph, on left-hand side of the Switzerland, close into France, people speak French. In the middle of the part of Switzerland, close into Germany, people mainly speak Germans. Last but not least, at the bottom of the map, we can see that which is closing to Italy, people speak Italian. In conclusion, on right hand side of the Switzerland, which is closing to Austria, people mainly speak Romansh. The map shows information about the global warming prediction 2070 to 2100 prediction versus 1960 to 1990 average. To begin with, we can see that there is range of temperature increase in degrees Celsius from 0 to 8. According to the graph, most of the continents are represented in red color, which means 5 to 7, especially in north part of the Earth. Last but not least, most of the ocean is yellow color, which means the range is from 0 to 3. In conclusion, it is a really useful map about global warming predictions. The graph gives information about the tropical rainforest of the world. According to the graph, we can see that the north part of the South America has the largest area of the tropical rainforest. And the central part of the Africa also has an area of the tropical rainforest, but the area is relatively small. In Asia, countries such as Philippines, Borneo, and New Guinea have certain area that covered by the tropical rainforest. Except for areas mentioned above, we can also find some tropical rainforest area in some part of North America, Australia, as well as Madagascar. In summary, areas that locate near the equator seem to have more tropical rainforests. The graph shows information about the temperature and precipitation in Vancouver International Airport from January to December. To begin with, we can see that the temperature fluctuated throughout the period. According to the graph, it increased from 3 degrees in January and reached the highest point at 18 degrees in August. Last but not the least, after that the temperature decreased dramatically to 4 degrees in December. In conclusion, the precipitation reached the lowest point in August at less than 30 millimeters, but rose dramatically to 180 millimeters in December. The graph gives information about the average temperature and precipitation from January to December. To begin with, we can see that the precipitation remained stable throughout the period, with the average at 100 millimeters. According to the graph, however, the temperature fluctuated throughout the period. Last but not least, it increased from less than 0 degree in January and reached the highest point in July at 25 degrees. In conclusion, the temperature decreased dramatically to 0 degrees Celsius in December. The graph gives information about the rainfall and average daily temperature in a year. To begin with, we can see that as a rainfall, the highest number goes to June with a figure of 260 millimeters. According to the graph, the maximum average daily temperature throughout the year is constant with a figure of 25 degrees. Last but not least, the minimum average daily temperature throughout the year is constant with a figure of 24 degrees. In conclusion, it seems that there is no correlation between temperature and rainfall. The graph gives information about the US subprime lending and home ownership from 1996 to 2007. To begin with, we can see that both of them presented an upward trend. According to the graph, the subprime lending reached the highest point in 2006 at around 20%, but fell dramatically later, ending on 8% in 2007. Last but not least, home ownership rate increased from less than 66% to about 70% in 2004, but fell gradually later, ending on 68% in 2007. In conclusion, the trend of subprime's share of mortgage and home ownership rate are the same. The graph gives information about the potato consumption in a week. To begin with, we can see that the consumption fluctuated throughout the period. According to the graph, on Monday, only 15 kilos were consumed. After that, the consumption rose gradually, ending on 30 kilos on Wednesday. Last but not least, on Thursday, it decreased dramatically to the lowest point at 10 kilograms. In conclusion, the consumption increased gradually, ending on 35 kilograms on Sunday. The graph gives information about the temperature and precipitation in Port Moresby from January to December. To begin with, we can see that the temperature remained stable throughout the period, with the average being 28 degrees. According to the graph, the precipitation, however, fluctuated throughout the period. Last but not the least, it reached the highest point in February at 200 millimeters, but fell dramatically later, ending at 25 millimeters in August. In conclusion, the precipitation increased gradually to more than 100 millimeters in December. The graph gives information about the average monthly rainfall and temperature in 1 year. To begin with, we can see that as for rainfall, the highest number goes to April with a figure of 270 millimeters, and the lowest number goes to July at 10 millimeters. According to the graph, there is an increasing trend in rainfall from October to November, but last but not least, as for the temperature, the highest number goes to March and October with a figure of 23.5 degree, while the lowest number goes to July at 20.5 degrees Celsius. In conclusion, it seems that there is a positive relationship between the trend of temperature and the rainfall during the year. The graph gives information about the revenue and gross margin of Apple since iPhone launch. To begin with, we can see that the time period is from the third quarter in 2007 to now. According to the graph, as for the revenue, the highest number goes to fourth quarter in 2012 with a figure of 50,000 million, and the second largest sale goes to the first quarter in 2012. Last but not the least, the gross margin during the period is relatively constant at the figure of around 40%. In conclusion, it seems that there is no correlation between the trend of revenue and gross margin. The graph gives information about the Bank of America betting on consumers. To begin with, we can see that the bar chart on the left indicates that the top 3 US banks ranked by assets, which are Citigroup, Bank of America, and JP Morgan Chase. According to the graph, as for the revenue distribution for different segments for the first 9 months of the year, the highest number goes to the consumer and small business with a figure of 56%. Last but not least, the lowest number goes to wealth management with a figure of 8%. In conclusion, for the rest of the segments, the number are ranging from 11% to 25%. The graph gives information about average annual number of days of air and ground frost at low Navarre forests from 1981 to 2010. To begin with, we can see that as ground frost, the highest number goes to January with a figure of 20 days, while the lowest number goes to July at 1 day. According to the graph, as for air frost, the highest number goes to January and December with a figure of 14 days. Last but not the least, the lowest number of the air frost goes to July with a figure of 1 day. In conclusion, it seems that there is a positive relationship between number of air frost and ground frost. The graph gives information about the unemployment rates in US and Japan in terms of percentage of workforce and time period. To begin with, we can see that there are two lines in this picture. That is Japan line with a rising trend and the scatters with a declining trend. According to the graph, for Japan, the largest number can be found in March 1999, which is about 5%. Last but not the least, for US, the largest number can be found in March 1993, which is about 7%. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about unemployment rates in US and Japan in terms of percentage of workforce and the time period. The graph gives information about the many men outside the labor force. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture. That is, employed 5,543, unemployed 291, and not in the labor force 2,260. According to the graph, for the pie chart of male labor market in 2005 to 2006, the largest number can be found in employed, which is about 68%, while the smallest number can be found in unemployed, which is about 4%. And last but not the least, for trends in economic inactivity, there are two lines for males and females. The graph gives information about the relationship between rainfall and temperature from January to December. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, that is January, March, May, July, September, and November. According to the graph, for rainfall, the largest number can be found in October, which is about 400, while the smallest number can be found in March, which is about 90. Last but not the least, for temperature, the largest number can be found in July, which is about 30. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about the relationship between rainfall and temperature. The graph gives information about the temperature and precipitation chart yearly. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including Manaus, Amazonas, and Brazil. According to the graph, for temperature, the largest number can be found in October, which is about 27.5, while the smallest number can be found in February, which is about 26. Last but not the least, for precipitation, the largest number can be found in March, which is about 310. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about the temperature and precipitation chart. The graph gives information about the question statistics as a comparison of lowest, highest, and average scores for each question. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including lowest score, average score, highest score, and time spent. According to the graph, for the time spent line, the largest number can be found in about 15 seconds, while the smallest number can be found in about 5 seconds. Last but not the least, for average score, there is a slightly rising trend. According to the graph, in conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about the comparison of lowest, highest, and average score for each questions. The graph gives information about the company percentage of total market share in terms of pie chart and a bar chart. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture. That is company A, company B, C, D, E, and also in company F. According to the graph, for the pie chart, the largest number can be found in company B, which is about 40% with the purple color, while the smallest number can be found in company F, which is about 1% with the orange color. Last but not the least, for the bar chart, it discloses the same information. In conclusion, we can see the second largest number can be found in company C, which is about 25%. The graph shows information about the relationship between rainfall and temperature from January to December. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including January, March, May, July, September, and November, and so on. According to the graph, for monthly precipitation, the largest number can be found in September, which is about 450, while the smallest number can be found in December, which is about 0. Last but not the least, for temperature, the largest number can be found in April, which is about 31. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about the relationship between rainfall and temperature. Gives information about the relationship between revenue and the yearly growth rate from 2011 to 2014. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including revenue in millions of dollars and yearly growth. According to the graph, for revenue, the largest number can be found in 2014, quarter 1, which is about 60,000, while the smallest number can be found in quarter 4, which is about 30,000. Last but not the least, for yearly growth, the largest number can be found in 2012, in quarter 4, which is about 26%. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it tells about the relationship between the revenue and yearly growth rate. The graph gives information about the Apple China revenues and China iPhone units. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including iPhone units and Apple total China revenues. According to the graph, for iPhone units, the largest number can be found in financial year 2013, which is about 20,000, while the smallest number can be found in FY09, which is about 100. Last but not least, for Apple total China revenue, the largest number can be found in FY13, which is about $26,000. In conclusion, I think this is very beneficial because it gives us really good information about the relationship between Apple China revenue and China iPhone units. The graph gives information about the relationship between revenue and revenue growth rates by region in financial year 2014. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, including Americas, Europe, Greater China, Japan, rest of Asia Pacific, and retail. According to the graph, for growth rate, the largest number can be found in Greater China, which is about 18%, while the smallest number can be found in rest of the Asia Pacific, which is about -7%. Last but not the least, for revenue, the largest number can be found in Americas, which is about 65,000. In conclusion, I think this graph is very beneficial because it gives us a really good relationship between revenue and revenue growth by region in FY 2014. The graph gives information about the monthly means of total rainfall and temperature of Cape Town and Hong Kong. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, that is January, March, May, July, September, and November. According to the graph, for Cape Town, the largest number can be found in June, which is about 94, while the smallest number can be found in January, which is about 13. Last but not the least, for Hong Kong, the largest number can be found in June, which is about 456. In conclusion, I think it is beneficial because it gives us really good information about the total rainfall and temperature of Cape Town and Hong Kong. The graph gives information about the sunshine and cloudy days for Ankara in Slovenia. To begin with, we can see that there are several sections in this picture, that is January, March, May, July, September, and November. According to the graph, for average monthly number for cloudy days, the largest number can be found in January, which is about 12, while the smallest number can be found in August, which is about 3. Last but not least, for average monthly hours of sunshine, the largest number can be found in July, which is about 300. In conclusion, I think it's beneficial because it gives us really good information about the sunshine and cloudy days for Ankara. The graph gives information about the number of people for different activities. To begin with, we can see that for men, the largest figure can be found in painting, which is 25, while the smallest figure can be found in drama and sculpture, which is 10. According to the graph, for women, the largest figure can be found in language, which is 40, and the smallest figure can be found in sculpture, which is 5. Last but not least, for the pie chart, the largest figure can be found in 50 or over, which is 42%, and the smallest figure can be found in age under 20, which is 5%. In conclusion, this graph is very useful and gives us really good information about the number of people who participated in different subjects in different ages. The picture shows information about how people can type with the right typing position. To begin with, we can see that it shows the right position on the left side of the picture and it shows the wrong position on the right hand side of the picture. People should put the palm and wrist in a straight line and a parallel position. According to the graph, it is wrong to bend them inward or outward. Last but not least, people should keep the lower arm and wrist straight. In conclusion, this is a very useful picture, especially for people who use computer for long hours. The picture shows information about the different planets. To begin with, there are several planets in different size, including Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Earth, and Pluto. According to the graph, the largest planet comes from the planet in gray color, which is Jupiter. And last but not the least, the smallest planet comes from the planet in black color, which is Pluto. It is followed by Earth, which is in dark blue color. In conclusion, this is a useful picture about different sizes of different planets. The picture shows information about the differences of computer at different times. According to the graph, to begin with, the left side picture shows a computer used a long time before in black and white, while the right side picture shows a modern laptop in colors. According to the graph, the old computer was a big machine and took a lot of space. It was fixed at one spot and people had to sit in front of the desk to operate it. Last but not the least, the new laptop with a screen and a keyboard is small and portable. People can carry it and use it at anywhere. In conclusion, technology has changed dramatically in recent years, especially for the computers. This picture shows information about a teacher showing an experiment device to students in a lab. To begin with, there are 4 students, including 3 girls and 1 boy, and they are all in school uniforms, which include white shirts, red tie, and black shorts. Some of the students hold experiment equipment, while some students hold a textbook or a notebook. According to the graph, all people are wearing lab goggles. Last but not the least, the many experiment equipment on the table in front of these people. In conclusion, I think they are having a really interesting experiment at school. The picture shows information about the bone structure of different creatures. To begin with, there are 5 types of bones, including upper arm bones, lower arm bones, wrist bones, metacarpals, and fingers. And according to the graph, for the upper arm bones, which is represented in blue color, lower arm bone, which is represented in dark green color, and wrist bones, which are represented in red color, humans have the longest. Last but not the least, for metacarpals, which are represented in purple color, bats have the longest. For the fingers, which are represented in green color, dinosaurs have the longest. In conclusion, humans, dinosaurs, birds, and bats have similar bone structures. The picture shows information about the distribution of Indian rhino. And to begin with, this is a map represented in green color, including China, Pakistan, India, and Nepal. Current distribution area is represented in red dot. Inferred historic distribution area is presented in yellow patch. According to the graph, the total population of Indian rhino is 2,500, which is mainly located in the south part of Nepal nowadays. Last but not the least, inferred historic distribution was mainly in East Pakistan, northern India, and southern Nepal. In conclusion, area of current distribution is way much smaller than the inferred historic distribution. The picture shows information about the differences between the medieval city street and the same street in modern age. To begin with, the left side picture shows old London in black and white, while the right side picture shows modern London in colors. According to the graph, in old London, people travel and deliver with carriages, but people travel with cars mostly in modern London. Last but not the least, some of the buildings are renovated, but some of them are not. In conclusion, we can see that it is more crowded in old London than modern London. The picture shows information about the pitch-packed water wheel. To begin with, there are three main parts in this picture, including flume, wheel, and tail race. According to the graph, on the top of the image, there is a horizontal flume which water flow passes through. Last but not the least, the water flows through Londa, reaching the wheel which is represented in the middle area of the picture, pushing the wheel to rotate anti-clockwise, and the tail race is collected at the bottom. In conclusion, this is a really useful but simple structured facility. The picture gives information about what is the lower mantle. To begin with, there are three main stratum: core, mantle, and lithosphere, which is crust and uppermost solid mantle. According to the graph, lithosphere includes crust and mantle includes asthenosphere, lower mantle. Last but not least, core includes outer core, which is liquid, and inner core, which is solid. In conclusion, outer core, which is still liquid, and inner core, which is made of solid metal. This picture shows information about Luna and fish. To begin with, there are several sections in this picture, that is surface, bottom, and moon fish. According to the graph, in the first picture of the crescent moon, those fish are swimming at the bottom of the sea. In the second picture, they are wandering in the middle. Last but not the least, when it is the full moon, those fish are dispersed in the sea from the surface to the bottom. In conclusion, we can see that it is an interesting picture because it gives us really good information about the relationship between Luna and fish. The picture gives information about the artificial tree storage size guide. To begin with, we can see that there are 4 classes of trees based on height and width. According to the graph, small trees are 4 to 6 feet tall and up to 30 feet wide, and medium trees are 6 to 7.5 feet tall and up to 55 feet wide, which is up to 2 times trunk size. Last but not the least, for larger trees, their height are ranging from 7.5 feet to 9 feet, and their width are up to 72 feet, which is up to 2 times trunk size. For trees in height of 9.5 to 12 feet, and they are classified as extra large trees. In conclusion, we can see all information is collected by Christmas Storage Company, and it is last updated on December 2012. The picture shows information about the relationship between the level of light and the marine habitat. To begin with, we can see that there are 2 scenarios in comparison, which are during the day with more lights and during the night with less lights. According to the graph, in the left-hand side of the picture, we can see that the fish is less abundant during the day, but their prey are more to the seafloor dwelling communities when the water is lit. Last but not least, on the right-hand side of the picture, we can see that fish is more abundant, but less predation on seafloor dwelling communities with little lights. In conclusion, the light levels have great influences on marine habitat, especially for the abundant and predation fish. The picture gives information about Eat Well Plate to ensure that people can get a good variety of nutrients every day. The first group of food is bread, potatoes, pasta, and other starchy food. People should try to eat plenty of these food as they are a main source of carbohydrates. The second group is fruit and veggies. These food not only providing protein, but also providing a variety of vitamins and minerals. The third group of food mainly provides protein, which includes meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. Milk and dairy can provide a good source of calcium and vitamin. Lastly, foods such as treats and drinks, as they are high in fat and sugar, it is best to pay attention to daily intake. The picture gives information about a house in a snowy area. In the foreground of the picture, there is a green wooden house with 5 white framed windows. Also an upper attic, which may give you a better view of the distant view. In the background, we can see snow-capped mountains. The land is also covered with snow except for a small area in front of the house, where it is covered with lawn. The picture might be taken from a severe cold area, where the house could be generally used as a shelter from atrocious weather conditions, such as snowstorm and cold wild wind. The graph gives information about the process of the formation of Oxbow Lake. As the river flows across the river valley, the narrow neck of the meander is gradually being eroded. Afterward, as the deposition continues takes place, sealing of the old meander, the erosion process at the neck of the loop eventually causes the river to break through at the cutoff point and form a new riverbed. Finally, the river cuts through the narrow neck of the loop, abandoning an Oxbow Lake, then flows straight.
If you don't want to miss these useful videos, please subscribe the channel and click on notification icon. You'll get notified once a new video is uploaded. Please share with your friends and family if you think it's useful to them. And if you want us to make more videos on specific topic, leave comments. And finally, thanks for watching.